Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time once again to continue my exploration of Steve Jackson's Sorcery. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to cast the Far spell and take a look at the Archmage. So here we can see I've got the oranges pretty much down now, and the Archmage is glued in his base. All that remains really at this point... Oh, I've painted the dark greens on the robe, although they may look rather black in this light. We'll just get a closer look there to try and see a bit more of the green. Yes, all that remains really now at this point is to paint the purple robe and the edge of the base. With any luck, I should have him done by the weekend. Possibly even tomorrow, although I'm pretty tired. Alright, let's get back to the main game. As we can see, he's preparing himself nicely for his confrontation with me. Only a few more colours left to go. The visions in the crystal ball are clearing, and it all looks lovely. I'm probably going to have to touch up the green around the rivets around the hem of the robe at some point, and possibly even a little bit on the sleeves. But he's getting there, you know, and I'm pretty pleased with the amount of progress I've made yesterday and today. Yes, I know, I'm a very slow painter. Much more importantly, though, I am feeling about as tired as my character must be, because it's starting to get to evening, and right now the hour is very late. I've been feeling fatigued and exhausted for something like the last 4 or 5 hours. And I'm going to try to struggle through an episode anyway. If I get to the kind of point where it looks like I'm going to have to cast the Z spell, I'm going to say to myself, look mate, Raph, just go to bed, try again later on. You're too tired now. Your weight returns and you settle gradually back down to the ground. Your veil of magical protection shimmers out of existence. You approach the next weird tower, wondering what you will find this time. The tower contains a large circular room. A few steps in, however, and you begin to lose your bearings. I've noticed they like to reset the spells at virtually every tower unless you cast them like right on the doorstep, which is like treated as part of the tower. So let's see how this goes. Though the tower itself is a simple, clear space, there is something disorienting about it. Perhaps it is because there are so many doors, like between 20 and 30 at a rough guess. Worryingly, in the middle of the floor lies a skeleton. Obviously, I need to cast a spell. Probably not resurrection. It would probably help to look at the doors, but they're probably all going to look the same and be a distraction. The skeleton may contain something of use. You look over the skeleton. It seems perfectly intact, curled up as though asleep. There are no signs of injury, no shattered bones or twisted limbs. Fragments of cloth remain here and there. Look, there might be something written in the cloth, like a piece of parchment tucked in a pocket with a clue upon it. Looking more closely at the fragments, you can see they are not the robes of a sorcerer or a merchant, but the rags of a peasant. Some local of Mampang, perhaps. Under one flap of cloth, you find a simple bronze ring that has fallen from a finger joint. One moment, please. I don't think we have a spell that requires a bronze ring. Green ring. No, I think we've got that already. So far, there's only about 3 or 4 spells we cannot currently cast. So, what is this like? Okay, we got 4 or 5. And Gob, of course. Yob, because we don't have a giant's tooth. Oh, we're out of money as well, so walk. Yeah, okay. So, this is likely to be some kind of illusion or confusion spell. I'll take the bronze ring, just in case it's useful later on somehow. You pick up the ring and slip it into your pocket. It is of no use for magic, and will not be worth anything, and yet it may be useful somewhere. What have I got in my pocket? A whole load of spells I may be about to unleash. Okay. Res. Arguably worth attempting here, especially if it's a suitable counter. Far might be a... Actually, that would be a very sensible counter. How? Again, counters fix. We're not in a fix. Zap. Counter Zen. Zip. Counter zip. So basically I can rule out anything that already counters something. Wrap. I don't think that's going to be helpful here. I'm honestly tempted to try and raise the dead. Dopp has got to counter something. But how would I know which door to target? I simply wouldn't. How? Already sussed. So, H. How? Zip and zap. Far. Dopp. Dopp. What would Dopp counter? I mean, it's not going to be something that would lock a door, something that would hide a door. Res, really tempting. He'll go, "Oi, where's my ring?" Wrap would have probably been useful elsewhere. So I'm actually going to go with far, just in case it works. Hey! Far and Dopp! Far and Dopp! Oh, great stuff. You sit cross-legged on the ground and put your palms on the orb of crystal. You weave the starlight into your design around you and everything changes. You are standing by one of the doors and stepping through onto a path. A moment later the vision disappears and the walls of the room in which you stand appear to collapse until you are standing in a simple tower. A counterspell then? So the spell of opening is countered by that of foresight. So what? I'm going to open the door. I knew you were going to open the door. So you can't open it now, because I've stopped you by knowing you were going to try and do it. Right, well, I'll just leave the chamber then. With the aid of the spell, you feel fairly confident of which door is which. Time to put it to the test. Well, obviously I want to go this way to this tower or this way to this tower. I really like the idea of trying to get to this corner. Is there a door there? There is a door there. Okay. Okay, well, let's go out into the big, wide open space. Is there a connection? Okay, there's a connection there, in which case... Ooh, I hope that's not too dangerous. Right. And have I been here already? Oh! Oh, okay. Yes, I have been here already. Okay, then. And I came from this one. So, let's go here. The path passes the base of another tower set into the side of the central mountain peak itself, but even the peak of Mampang is dwarfed by the endless mountains of Upper Salmon, stretching away northwards like a turbulent grey ocean. I'll consider the mountains. You pause, taking in the endless vista. These lands are cruel and cold, a part of the world not made for humans, but still they are inhabited by low creatures, by birds, by a few strange sapient reptiles. Nowhere in the old world is truly empty, except perhaps these towers through which you now walk, except they're crammed full of powerful ancient spells. I shall of course enter the tower. Another night begins. You need to rest, especially on an empty stomach. You follow the path and make your way into the next tower uncertainly. What is this place? Why was it built? The interior of the tower is quite empty except for a brass sphere in the centre capped with black cloth. Why is there black cloth on top of the sphere? I should probably not remove the cloth. The sphere rotates slowly, smoothly, on some invisible gimbal. Perhaps it is lightly floating. The black cloth is draped over the top of the gently rotating sphere. There is nothing remarkable about it. I should sleep. But I should probably learn the counterspell before I sleep. But will I then be able to sleep here? What spells are available to me here at this point in time? Okay, so far is already a counter. Yaz counters tell. Yap, don't know what it'll counter yet. Yob, yeah, alright. Learning counters for spells that don't require consumed components is probably a higher priority for now. S. Oh, hello. O. B. Sob. Unknown. You what? As you complete the spell, there is a popping and hissing from your pack. You pull it open to see that one of the Snatch Cat teeth is growing. A moment later it is shot up into the air and exploded. A long-clawed Snatch Cat leaps down onto the ground. The Sob spell has been added to your spellbook. The Snatch Cat looks around for something to kill and finds nothing. Slowly its heavy eyes fall closed and it disappears from sight. Oh, I am not sleeping here now. I'll get killed by a Snatch Cat. Okay, I'll remove the cloth from the sphere and see what can happen. You whip the grey cloth away from the brass sphere. Nothing happens except you uncover a dull grey-white circle set into the sphere. It is as though the whole ball encases whatever this thing is. I'll look at the white circle cautiously. You run your finger over the white circle. There is definitely something buried inside the sphere. Something that feels like dry wood or too warm stone. It takes a moment to place it. It is bone. I will cast a spell. Because clearly I have not learned what this place has to teach me. So. Zap. Requires for it counters Zen. Zob. Summons a zombie? The spell you are casting fails. Something which you have not got is needed for this spell. I imagine the majority of the secret spells will be summoning spells. So. No. No. Okay. No Z. Right. I don't think that's going to necessarily help here. Is this for time and place? I don't know that it is. Obviously, the fact that I haven't had to counterspell a single thing yet, apart from the optional counterspelling once or twice earlier on in Book 3, means that this is building up to some big epic showdown with the Archmage, where he's going to use loads of different spells. It's going to be like the fight in the end of Book 1 of Way of the Tiger, where you had to pick the correct martial arts moves and work your way through it. You could do it in 2 or 3 choices, but it would typically take longer if you hadn't done it before. I could have done this in the last... So, in the last chamber, this was a wrong choice, an incorrect choice. It is bone. But if I bring the bone back to life inside the brass sphere, it will be constricted and crushed, right? It won't survive. So, far won't be of use to me. Sus. Sure. The spell will tell me there's a Snatch Cat there. You weave the spell and a steady voice begins to speak to you. There is magic at work here, declares the voice, though it is not one you can feel happening, and not one that will do you any harm. Its words delivered, the voice fades. Can't feel it happening. Is it mag? It could be mag. What would counter... Oh, did I not... Mag would counter... Oh, that's annoying. Right. So. Let's try Yap. Or Yaz. Let's try Yaz. No, Yaz counters something already. Let's try Yap. Pulling out the green wig, you put it on and cast the spell, but it seems there are no creatures to talk to, so the spell has no effect. Great! I'll keep learning. So, no Yaz. I don't have the Giant's Tooth for Yob. No Sun. Sap. Could try it. But I don't think it's going to be particularly helpful. It's not something you would feel. Oh, is it like Foff? Or no, it's not Foff or Wool. Sob. I don't need to summon another Snatch Cat. It could very well be an S spell, though. So, ooh. That went a bit weird, didn't it? So, is it worth it just to learn it? I think I have 2. Sands of death flow in the inner college. Ooh. Right. Two measures of holy water. I could try. And as it's a counter spell, this may be very dumb, but it might just be worth it. What else have I got? Got Y. Got Yap and Yob and Yaz. Yap isn't going to do it. Yob, I don't have a Giant's Tooth, which may very well be the counter here, actually. Far isn't going to do it. Zap and Zob aren't going to do it. I can't even cast Zob. So F, Z, Y, R. It's got to be an R spell or an S spell. Sap to cause depression. What thing that I couldn't feel would depression counter? Because it wouldn't be like hope or something like that, right? Sus, I've already done. Sob. Make a Snatch Cat. So it's got to be sap or res. This doesn't require a component, so I'll do it. Consulting the stars, you bind the magic. The sphere appears to spin a little more slowly, but nothing else results. Maybe I should knock on the sphere, right? See what happens. I don't want to break it right? But I don't want to knock it off alignment. But this is knock it, not knock on it, right? So this may be a really big mistake. You take the gourd of holy water from your pack and cast your spell. The water begins to shimmer and shine with an inner light, and I will pour it on the sphere, rather than drinking it. You pour the sparkling water over the sphere. For a moment you seem to hear some kind of response from inside, but it is muffled by the metal, and you can make nothing of it out. I will now knock it. You nudge the sphere gently, and it bobs away from its socket, then back again, continuing to turn. Oh, I can open it? No, I can't. You hunt across the surface of the sphere for some kind of catch, but find nothing. Whatever is inside seems to have been moulded into place. Well, now I really will sleep. And I hope I don't get eaten by a... Uh-oh. Why are all three of these? Oh, is it something to do with dreaming? Why are these all three options that look the same but might not be the same? The tower seems quiet and peaceful. You lie down to rest, but as your eyes close, visions begin to swim inside your mind. Your journey, the great tower, the archmage sitting and waiting in his turret room, a quill pen scratching lines onto parchment, the crown rests on his head. Well, if I pretend that these are all different, and I take them in order and go for the first one first, but I'm clicking on this one. If these are all the same, why would these be the same? Why would these be presented? Maybe I could sleep here and have a different one of these each time. A tall man in black enters, swinging in through a window, a curved blade drawn. It's flanker! The archmage turns and smiles. The man, blade raised to strike, suddenly lowers it and bows. Yeah, these... A tiny creature flutters its way over the battlements of Mampang, but it is suddenly snatched from the air by a pair of vicious talons, an invisible eagle no doubt. Underneath it all, the sphere in the centre of this chamber hums gently, persistently, some kind of engine driving its motion. Finally, you sleep. You sleep soundly enough. You have found 2 new clues, and the archmage is still waiting for you. Not looking for me anymore. Interesting. Maybe waiting because he knows I have come. You get to your feet. The tower is quite unchanged from how it was before, and I have not found a suitable spell that I can cast that will counter that, so I'm leaving now. As you turn to go, a voice turns in your head. Free. Tell! Tell! What counters tell? Da 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 bum bum. There's a tell, there's a spell that counters it, and I know what it is. Yes! Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it! Y-A-Z. Do it! You turn the stars into shape around you, but instead of turning invisible as you expected, the sphere in the middle of the room suddenly stops rotating and nothing else occurs. Free what? Your question is met with nothing but silence. Yeah, I know. I know. You turn and head quickly back out of the tower. No voice sounds in your mind this time, because I countered it! Yes, I did. So I could have learned the counter there if I hadn't learned it already. And the Yaz option was there earlier, didn't work. Worked now because it's the right time when I'm trying to leave. You step back out onto the path and take your way along it. The sun breaks over the horizon, and I may have missed out on the opportunity to get some very important information. Oh! Wait! This is so dumb. The first is of fire, the second is of stone, the third is unseen, the fourth is unknown. So it's told me free, as in this is the third, the spell of and I cast the spell that would make me invisible, and it didn't say anything else. So it was almost saying, do the third spell on this list, in case you haven't worked it out already. Now, I couldn't cast hot in there, I couldn't cast rock in there. So, oh. Do I have what I need for rock? Yes, I do. Okay, good. The first, and hot is easy. Right. I will now approach this tower. The early morning sun makes the air glow. You enter the next tower. This chamber is empty save for a few crates stacked against one wall. Thick dust covers the floor with no footprints visible. A storeroom? This could be a magical trap waiting to be sprung. Yes, it is! You step into the room, kicking up a small cloud of dust as you walk. The air inside is shimmering. Then suddenly you are blinded by a dazzling glare, like the sun spell. I will shield my eyes. I'm not going to stare into it and blind myself. You shield your eyes, fearing attack, but instead a calm voice declares, "Do not fear me. You have nothing to fear. You are welcome." The voice is lilting, beautiful, calm, familiar. "My friend," the voice continues, "surely you know me. Illusion of worship, it's God!" And then you know her voice and you fall to your knees. "Libra! It's the illusion of worship spell." "Yes, I am Libra," she replies. "I have come again to help you, but at great risk. We must speak quickly and then you must go." What could possibly counter unknown? She's already told me her power cannot reach in here, so Sap could do it. Sus could do it. How counters fix. Wait, if I cast God back, there's no way it would counter itself, right? But the fact that it's available at all makes it very interesting. Nap. Cause sleepiness. You're kidding! You craft the enchantment, bringing out the pendulum, but as you swing it, the atmosphere of the room warps. There is no effect on Libra at first, but then the light is blurred away until it is gone. A counterspell then? So the enchantment of sleep matches the spell of worship. The light vanishes, revealing a goblin standing in the middle of the room. He is wearing a long blonde wig. He raises his hands. "This is not what it looks like." "I can see that. Now." The goblin gulps but says nothing. I'll step towards the goblin. You step towards the goblin and he cringes. I see this isn't working. I ran away from the other tower." The goblin holds the wig up helplessly. "And don't ask me where I got this from." I'll speak to the goblin. The goblin adjusts his wig. "Look," he begins, I'm as upset about this as you are. Oh, I very much doubt that. The Goblin blanches. Why would I recognise the Goblin? I recognise you. Is it the one who stole my rope? You say, we've met before. You stole my rope ladder. The Goblin hides behind his locks. I can explain. It's quite curious story, really. Why did you take it? So I could get back into Mampang, obviously. It's easy to get into Mampang with a rope ladder, but the Goblin declines to explain further. Why are you doing this? You demand. I'm hiding. You charged in here, then started bowing. I just played along. Well, now that we have bonded so well, I assume you will be leaving. Peacefully. The Goblin asks. Oh, hang on, that... Okay, for this to be correct, that has to have no closing speech mark, and then it continues in the next paragraph, opening with one, because it's continued speech. Well, now that we have bonded so well, I assume that you'll be leaving? Peacefully? The Goblin asks, desperation on his face. I think you'd better come with me. You suggest. The Goblin peers at you. You do realise I'm not your Lemur god, or whatever it was? Of course I do. Then I'm not going anywhere with you, the Goblin replies. I'm not dragging myself after you just so you can eat me when you first get hungry. He sits down sharply, cross-legged on the floor. Well then, I'll search the room, and hope he doesn't stab me in the back. You search the room, but find nothing. It is truly empty. I sometimes see a rat run through, the Goblin says, but nothing else. I don't see much point threatening him. He's scared, but he's not... He could give me the wig. Do I have one? Do I need one? This is the interesting thing, because the God spell doesn't require a blonde wig. Does anything? I know we need a green wig, for which we have already. So why would this blonde wig be casting a spell without his know-how? That feels very odd. Yellow powder is nip. It's not necessarily sand. No, they both need the same wig. If Yap needed a... Because I know Rap needed a green wig. I'm not sure about Yap. One or the other. Maybe that had been changed. Interesting. Hang on, I've got a new spell. Of course I have. I've got the Snatch Cat spell. Sob, right? And where is it hiding here? There it's hiding. With a very faint image as if it's already becoming invisible. Alright. Well, I will not threaten the Goblin. I don't think there's very much he could give me apart from information. And it doesn't feel very honourable. You leave the pitiful creature behind without another word. Don't worry, I'll be coming back. Presuming I survive this tower. The air stirs a little, still cold but fresh. You approach the next tower boldly. A gloomy silence descends. The outside of the tower is overgrown, and inside the foliage is thicker still. The floor and walls are thick with plants, and the plants themselves are dripping with overripe berries. Purple liquid pools across the stone, and a purple fog rises up from it. I'm putting in my nose plugs. You slide in your nose plugs, but of course you're still breathing the fog in through your mouth. I'll look at the doors. Peering across the miniature jungle and through the haze, you make out another door across the room. Do I want it? Where? Oh, there's a tiny little connection there. I see. I see. Plants. Oh, What was that plant repellent spell? It's CA something. Right? You take a few steps further into the tower. Every footstep crushes plants and berries underfoot, staining your heels and sending up new clouds of purple fog. The plants get deeper further in. We did not have a clues tab until book 2, so we don't have a clue for that spell. Other items. Scrap of paper. No, I need the partial page from the spell book, which I think I gave back to the witch and she offered to show me part of a spell. Huh. I'll keep going and hope I get the opportunity to cast a spell soon, because otherwise it's getting really bad. You keep on through the thick foliage. Bushes grow up from cracks in the stone on all sides and hang down in vines and creepers from the ceiling. Dim light gently fills the room, though it hardly seems enough for so much growth. You are now in the middle of the tower, where the purple fog is at its thickest. Can I cast a spell now? No. You lean down and look through the bushes to the stone floor below. The plants seem to be growing in little or no soil, sustained by some magic. Your fingers move across a scratch in the ground. The mark is a single scratched line, but clearly carved. Oh, hot! There is nothing else in the stone nearby. You stamp and squelch to the far side of the tower. Nothing untoward occurs. The bushes thin out once more near the doors, and fresh air beckons. You take out the nose plugs once more as you step outside. Yeah, here's the thing. I've got to go back, though. You cross the waters and push your way inside the tower once again. Once inside the room of doors, you soon begin to feel turned around once again. It seems your counterspell has worn off. Well, guess what? In the middle of the floor lies a skeleton. Yeah. It's the same one I used last time, which was, obviously, Far. That's a really nice way of checking counterspells, by the way, to just look up the one you know you're countering. You sit cross-legged on the ground and put your arms on the orb. Reaching up to the constellations overhead, you create the spell and everything changes. You're standing by one of the doors and stepping through onto a path. A moment later, the vision disappears, and the walls of the room in which you are standing appear to collapse until you are standing in a simple tower. The Dopp spell then successfully countered by my enchantment, and I am leaving. And I'm gonna go this way. And then I'm probably going to have to cast the same counterspell here as well, especially if the Goblin insists on staying here. As the morning moves on, the wind begins to rise. You enter the next tower. You return to the tower where the Goblin attempted to trick you. The Goblin remains. Most likely he has nowhere else to go. You again, the Goblin says. Have you not humiliated me enough? Look, I'm just passing through. To this tower, on my way back out of this part of the college. You race over to the next tower before the wind can pluck you from the walkway. As you enter the tower, 5 other figures step in from identical-looking doors placed evenly around the walls. It's 6. What counters 6? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Gak? Could Gak counter 6? Scare the mirror images away. Right. Could pop a rock? This isn't wall. This is 6. Look. Ah! 6 isn't available, so I literally can't... Oh, you... It's not going to be sun. Not going to be sap. I mean, it might be, actually. Because if it isn't, I'm going to have to fight them. Kin. If I had the mirror, that could... Because that's only one copy. That could maybe... One copy instead of 6 copies. That could count as 6. Right? Zap counters Zen. Zip counters gum. So I think I'm down to Kin, which I can't cast, right? Or Gak. Or... Nope, 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 this is all good. Or... No, that's it, isn't it? Or Sap. Out of the two, make them depressed, make them scared. I think the opportunity to use Gak as a counterspell is something I should investigate. You order the constellations into order around you, pulling the black face mask out of your pack and putting it on your face. Several of the other figures in the room have begun crafting spells, and a moment later everything goes crazy. Lightning bolts fire from one figure at another who is calling out a greeting. Blinding light comes from the hands of one who stands opposite while you are suddenly feeling very depressed. One disappears completely, so it's gone invisible. Call for order. I mean, they are copies of me, right? So I could retreat. No, I'll give it a try. You call out for order, but the figures only cower from your terrible mask. One gathers a lightning bolt into their hands. Well, look, I can't have that. You draw your sword, and the signal is instant. Steel is drawn on all sides of the room. The electric bolt is thrown, but towards another figure, and the rest descend into a violent, angry pile. I'll just slip away. I obviously didn't work out this counterspell quick enough. It could have been the depression one. I'm not so sure that it is. You take the opportunity to quietly slip out of the room in this direction. You move over the next walkway to the... Oh! To the tower beyond. The middle of the day is unforgiving. The tower seems quiet and empty. The only curious feature is a crack that splits the floor in half. It lies between you and the door on the other side. I will definitely cast a spell. I've been here before. No Zen. Huff. No. Pop. So this is the big pit trap of death, right? With the gob. I mean, that's a very cruel way of triggering the trapdoor. B. Unknown spell. Okay. I'll look at the crack. The crack is perfectly straight and is more like a cut than a crack, as though someone had split the tower in two across its middle and slid the two halves together. I will throw a pebble across the room. You pull a pebble from your pack and toss it experimentally across the chamber. It travels halfway, as far as the crack no less, then bounces off something you cannot see. Wall! You pick it up once more. Oh, you literally don't want me walking this way now. And they literally put the big barrier on the roof as well and on the floor and the walls all the way down to make it extra obvious. Oh, well, in that case, I know this one. Gonna cost me a pebble, though. Gonna pop a rock and bust a wall. But it could be Foff. Let's pop a rock. You cast a spell, but as the pebble begins to glow, something quite strange happens. The pebble disintegrates and the crack in the tower disappears. The tower suddenly looks quite whole. A wall spell, then, opposed by your pop spell. I'll move on. You could turn back or cross to the far door. I am crossing to the far door. You step out onto the path. You see the crack shimmer back into place as you leave. The door into the tower has been smashed to bits from the inside. Stones the size of treasure chests lie scattered about. Well, I could walk through this tower and face its magical threats once again, or just blatantly not do that. You stand outside another tower, paths snaking this way and that around you. This place feels like an open coffin, as though you were an ant exploring the contours of its ruffled velvet lining. Which route will you choose? Trying to remember what's in these now, and which may be the safest. Obviously I'm trying to get back out to here. What is the route that passes through the least amount of possible towers? So we got 1, 2, 3... 1, 2, 3. So the same amount of towers. I don't remember which. So I definitely came through here. I think I'm going to hug the outer wall. I suspect this may be the slightly safer route, but I honestly don't remember. It's been... Look, it's 3:15 in the morning. I'm very tired. You follow the path and return for a short way. Thin heat beats down from an empty sky. You stop just by the ruined entrance of the tower to the east. I could cast magic protection if I wanted to go in there, but I do not. The path leads along the line of the outer wall, and I will head back to this tower. Chances are I'll recognise it when I enter it. Oh! What counts as rock? The sun is beginning to lower and the air begins to cool. You approach the next tower warily. Though I am very weary, my character is very wary. 2 different words. Well worth making sure you don't use the wrong one. As I almost did in my slumber-like state. The room you find is filled with statues, frozen in various poses. An ice hush fills the air. Is this a gallery of some sort? If it is, it's a very dangerous one. You step further into the room. There is no furniture, and from the dust it seems no one has been here in a long while. The statues make the room hard to navigate. They cluster and clutter the floor. Yeah, look, this is a death trap. I do not want to be turned into a statue. Y. A. Yap. I don't think that's going to counter being turned to stone. Zen? No. Zap? No. Zob. Again, I don't have the required thing. Yes. Yes! Looking to the stars, you craft the magic, but your weight does not change. Instead, stone begins to flake off the skin of the statues. Yeah, now I need to get out of this room fast. You watch in amazement. It is as though a strong wind is blowing through the chamber and shearing the stone to shreds. As more and more flecks of rock fall, something green and fetid pink is revealed beneath the stone. Look away. Look away. It could be mucolyptids. You turn away. The sudden rotting smell is enough to tell you all that you need to know of what lies inside the statue's stone hulls. A rock spell, then, that was undone by your enchantment. Corpses. You are standing in a room of the posed dead, and entombed for so long they stay posed. The gallery of stone becomes a gallery of flesh. I will look briefly, then get out of here. Dead men bend to scoop up unseen children. Blank-eyed women stare at each other across the room. One has her mouth open mid-screech. One corpse still blocks the door. I'll move it. I could search all the corpses in a room and get infected with some horrible... No, they've been stone. They haven't been subjected to anything coming into their stony state. They won't be necessarily full of diseases. You search for corpses, nearly gagging from the smell and softness of their flesh. Can I use my nose plugs for that? You find nothing of note. Perhaps they were stripped of their valuables before they were turned to stone. Perhaps they had nothing to begin with. Who knows how they were lured to this place? I will shift the corpse out of the doorway. Without the shell of stone, the corpse is easy to move. It is an unwelcome task, but you swallow your disgust. The way forward is now clear. The corpses stare at your back as you leave. I'm getting out of here. And going... this way, then. This way. Back to the Tower of Sand. You return to the tower to find that the shield around it has returned. This tower is already shielded by a spell of some kind, and I need to make some more quicksand. Which is mud, right? Even though it's not mud. You spin the starlight into a pattern around you, and once again the tower vanishes. The tower vanishes. The tower is now open for you to return to, even though it's vanished. Yeah, look, I'm going through. There is now nothing to stop you going inside the tower, and also, hopefully, nothing to stop me leaving. The inside of the tower is Spartan. In the middle sits a table on which a piece of paper lies. A pile of yellow sand is scattered around the table's feet. There is nothing to keep you here. Yep, seen it all before. You follow the path, step by step. The wind picks up as the evening draws on. Another junction, a low tower to the west is set into the wall of the citadel. The shimmering tower blocks your way north. You know what? What is there to explore? I could go into this last tower. It's hard to imagine this place was ever occupied. It seems so lonely and lost. The path splits here, but the shortest way leading up to an arched doorway in a nearby tower. And I think sap is the spell for this place. The sun lowers towards the horizon. It'll be night soon. You follow the path and make your way into the next tower. Once inside, you immediately break out into a smile. This tower might be gloomy, but it's certainly a relief from the ruin outside. You open your arms to cast a spell and end up falling over backwards and collapsing into giggles. Such a shame there's no one here to enjoy this place with you. It really is quite delightful. The atmosphere of this place seems genuinely good for you. What a charming place. Why am I not allowed to cast it? So is this completely... Should I have cast a spell before coming in here? I wasn't given the option. So I'm not sure. So I've experienced this one before, right? Something wrong with the floor. Look at the floor. Yeah, look at the doors, because you want to... Yeah, look. Still want to try and leave. Okay, fine. So I was singing the same song. So there's literally no way out of... There's no good solution to that tower that I know of. Because it won't let me try and cast a spell inside it. So I'd need to cast a spell outside it. Let's go back outside. And looking at the time, if I'm really lucky, I might be able to get into the Abbey of Ether and get some sleep. You follow the path along the water to a high but crumbling wall. This is the way back into Mampang proper. Yeah. I'll look over the wall in case there's any guards patrolling. You scramble up onto a block and peer over the wall. Beyond stretches an empty region of lapping water for... No, that's the side I'm on. The path leads towards the hubbub of the city. The sun has almost set and the sky has turned a deep purple. Soon it will be dark once more. Well, let's just hope I'm not too late, and I'm probably too late. Night has fallen. Yeah. You continue along the road. Night has fallen. You should try to find somewhere safe to sleep, especially on an empty stomach. You pass a side street leading off into a maze of smaller streets and alleys. I think I was able to sleep in the warehouse here, wasn't I? You skulk down a narrow street lined by low warehouses. You catch the scent of grain as you pass one. No guards this time. You slip into a warehouse. Inside, plenty of empty space, some of it lined with straw. The interior is quiet and dark, and I will rest here. Removing your pack, you try to settle, despite the uncomfortable floor. You have eaten nothing today, but you have no provisions, only 2 vials of blimberry juice. I'll close my eyes and rest, because I'm on full health. I'll be a bit hurt afterwards, but I can pray. You close your eyes and let your tiredness overtake you. You feel quite safe here, and you do not dream. You found one new clue, and the Archmage is still looking for you. I also learned loads of counterspells, thank you very much. I think I'm going to start the new morning with a new episode, as I've played for quite long enough tonight. I hope you've all enjoyed this one, and I do look forward to seeing you all in the very next episode. I am going to say goodbye for now, though, and cheerio everyone. See you all next time.